is one question, Luang Por. I saw on Facebook that Luang Por Liam is coming to the monastery. How do I offer dana to Luang Por Liam?
Well, turn up at the monastery at 10 o'clock between the, he arrives on the 1st of March, so come here on the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th of March, and you'll be able to offer dana to him. Easy. Take time off work if you work. Come on the weekend if you can't take time off. If you haven't got a car, get a friend to drive you. Catch a bus if you want. Luang Por Liam is a very special monk. He's 80 years old and has done a lot of good for himself and others in his life. Very peaceful, wise monk. So even just being in his presence, even if you don't understand any Thai, just being with him, I'm sure would be a very uplifting experience. He's another monk who embodies not self. Very cool, calm, equanimous.
Sadhu Luang Por. Richard, if you would like to ask a question, you're welcome to unmute.
Thank you for your talk. Much appreciated, Luang Por. Yes, sometimes I go on a daily walk, for a few kilometers, and usually use the time to listen to Dhamma talks. And sometimes, depending on who's saying what, one can kind of relax into your meditation state as one's walking. And sometimes that involves, feeling the body, feeling the soles of the feet and moving. And sometimes it can sort of extend out into what you're walking on, the ground. So concrete, one can feel, that there's all these molecules fixed as a solid earth element, I suppose you'd call it. Whereas walking on asphalt, one would feel, or tarmac, there's more water, it's more fluid. But one occasion recently, I was walking in a regular track, and I don't know what it was used. I think it was Ajahn Kalyano, who you would know. I don't know what he was saying, but anyway, suddenly the body dissolved into particles, and like those environmental particles, if you like. But it was something like, but there was time involved as well. So one could imagine the source of all the particles in one's body going back into time. But it was just, from everywhere, and then composing the cells and the other bits of the body. So one really had a sense of this not self, if you like. There was just bits of particles comprising, the body as it walked along. Do I need to see a psychiatrist?
Probably not. If you're talking like this about it, it's quite common for people to have these different experiences. Sometimes seems to be a separation between mind and body, so it's almost like an outer body experience, and that can happen just walking along, like you say, or whether sitting or walking. Sometimes just a sense that the body is not self, so the body is just like you say, a collection of physical elements, like a robot or a doll or something, and consciousness is just something separate. The consciousness that knows the body and the body itself are totally seem to be like in two different dimensions or two different things. So these are very or fairly common experiences in meditation. It can be very brief, just for a few moments, or occasionally it can be for long periods of time, especially if your mind becomes very peaceful and the concentration and the mindfulness is quite continuous. But again, just learn from what's going on. Just use it as a way to educate your perception. Maybe it changes the way you look at your body and you realize, well, this body is ultimately not self. One day, mind and body will separate. Like when we die, you never take your body. You can't possibly take it away from death. You have to let it go. But what is it that lets it go? Well, there's a stream of consciousness that lets go of the body at that moment, and you can maybe experience that before you die. And Ajahn Kalyano, dying before you die. So you're literally sitting there, and it's as if temporarily your body dies away from you, or even when you're walking along, it can happen. So it changes your relationship between mind and body, or mind and the physical world, and you realize everything that we're involved with physically is. It's not that there's nothing there, but you don't own it. You can't have it and make it yours. Everything you see, hear, taste, touch, smell, these are genuine experiences. You hear things, you see things, you taste things, but the deluded mind immediately forms this sense of ownership. I like this. This is good for me. I like it. This is not good for me. I don't like it. I don't want it. We tend to react with aversion and attraction all the time. But when you have these experiences where you're more mindful and you're reflecting on conditionality, cause and effect, not self, we maybe have just this sense that these experiences happen, but there's nobody experiencing the taste, the sight, the smell, the physical sensations of the body. There's no person who owns that or has that. They are just experiences in themselves that are arising and passing away.
Thank you.
So I wouldn't worry about it. Just observe and learn, and it may even happen again. So just keep practicing.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, another question. Dear Ajahn, when I meditate, I can't find a specific place where the breath touches. I only feel the air goes in as one flow. How can I improve my focus on breathing? Thank you again.
In the beginning of breathing meditation, it's okay to experiment a bit, learn a bit about your body and your mind and how things are. I found one thing that I did that helped was just to breathe a little bit more in a more exaggerated way at the beginning of the meditation. So that take deep breaths in, deep breaths out, sometimes a little bit coarser and faster even than normal, so that I became really clear of where the breath was, what it feels like, where the in-breath, say, was touching the nostril, where it's going out, the contact between the breath going out and the nostrils, and then gradually to relax that, so I'm not forcing the breath to be long or short or particularly coarse, refined, fast, slow, or anything, just becoming normal, but sticking my attention there. And over time, what you usually find is that your mental energy starts to stay in that place more and more because you're less distracted by other things. Their thoughts and memories and stuff arises into your consciousness and you're aware of it, but you let it go in a more natural way. So then you stick with the breath more and you have this experience of the mind gathering in the one place. And with that gathering of attention and awareness, well, you're noticing in a more refined way the movement of the breath, but you also find that the breath itself tends to become more refined. The movement is slightly less perceptible, but because your mindfulness is improving, you're more steady and stable in your mindfulness practice then even though the breath becomes more refined, you can stay with that. And you may even keep returning to the breath at that point over and over again, to the point where it seems to all, the movement of the breath seems to disappear. But your mind is still there, and you're not asleep, hopefully. You're not asleep, you're not distracted, you're just there knowing the breath to the point where it's the movement of the breath seems to stop. And then it's just the refinement of mind and breath emerging, and other experiences happen. You get the lightness, the rapture in the body and the mind. Sometimes you'll get the brighter visual images of the mind, the nimittas and light arise. But the important thing is to keep attention in this one place that you've been paying attention to over and over again up until that point, because all your mental energy will have gathered there. So you can even know that now the breath is no longer moving. You're still knowing the breath, but you know that there's no longer movement. But in the beginning, you have to find something that grabs your attention. So you can breathe more deeply or faster or coarser than usual, just to start paying attention to the breath, to make it really clear to yourself. And then over time, settle down, allow it to go at a more natural pace. You can experiment with other points, so your chest, your abdomen. They're probably the three most popular points in the body to focus on for breath meditation. I'd always recommend going to the nostrils and the tip of the nostrils as your beginning point, but as I said, it's not wrong to try these other points.
Sadhu Lumpur. Next question. When I have time to put aside for meditation, I do breath meditation or walking meditation. However, whilst engaging in my day-to-day work and responsibilities, in what way can I get involved in meditation or mindfulness? What meditation can I do as part of my daily lifestyle?
Well, there's probably two things you can do. One is occasionally, when it's suitable, appropriate, possible, you do a bit of your normal meditation technique. So if you do breathing meditation, you can return to the breath from time to time through your day for maybe just a short period, maybe just for 1 minute or a few minutes. So depending on how you spend your time, what you're doing, say you drive your car to work. Before you even turn the ignition key, if you're not rushed, and that's also another part of it, is getting the right attitude, the right frame of mind, that you are practicing mindfulness. But if you're not rushed, well, before you turn the key, watch your breath for a minute. Or you've parked your car, turn the key off, turn the ignition off. Before you get out of the car, compose yourself, bring your mind back to the breath. If you're sitting at a desk, typing in a computer or looking at information, say, from time to time, it could be once an hour or once every few hours, doesn't matter. From time to time, just pause and stay with the breath for a while. Make that effort. Or in a lunch break or a tea break, or at a moment when you're waiting for something and there's not anything you need to do, you can go to the breath for just 1 or 2 minutes, as opposed to always scanning your phone and looking for distraction. Get in the habit of returning to your main meditation object occasionally through the day, and this will keep up a better level of mindfulness. The second thing you can do is turn various activities, tasks that you're doing into a focus for your mindfulness. So if you've practiced mindfulness of walking meditation before in a retreat situation, say, well, you can carry on practicing mindfulness of walking during the course of your day as you walk from your car to place of work or to a shopping mall or from one room to another. And, walking can become a time where you're becoming mindful of your body and doing your walking meditation, even as you're in the midst of your day. And of course, you'll have thoughts come up about what you're going to do next and what you think about this, what you think about that, of course. But you return to the feet touching the ground and you get used to using that as a reference point. Or if you're doing a job of work, whether it's a physical activity, you're preparing food or you're cleaning or you're typing or you're making something, doing something, that becomes the focus of your mindfulness at that time. Even relaxing, having a cup of coffee, you may even be talking to someone, listening to someone, that becomes the focus of your mindfulness. A conversation is a focus of mindfulness. So you're listening to someone, not just saying what you have to say, but you listen. As you pay attention more through your day and you make the different things you're involved with part of your mindfulness practice, you'll notice so many new things. It's quite interesting, revealing. Occasionally it's shocking when you realize how little you actually listen to the people you talk to, or how unaware you are of the world around you, how you've missed so many things, features in your physical environment that you didn't notice before, but now you're paying more attention. You start to notice things you didn't notice before, and so on. So actually just making the things you do objects of mindfulness doesn't mean to say you're cutting off from the world. It just means you're paying a little bit more attention to your body, your mind, as you do the things you do. And partly that will happen naturally, the more interest you show in meditation and practice meditation. Partly it's something you have to train yourself in. If you do more retreats or come and live in a monastery or something like that, when you're learning that, you're learning how to make mindfulness part of your daily life. And it's quite revealing, isn't it? You become more aware of yourself, your thoughts, your feelings, but you're also developing more equanimity, more strength of mind, and that helps you to deal with obstacles, difficulties, stress, and so on. So you only get good things. Practicing mindfulness, it doesn't lead to problems really if you're practicing correctly as the Buddha taught. It only helps you.